Hi everybody. The final Grand Tour of the season is already upon us. This Saturday, August 17th, the Vuelta is starting, serving us with what is in my opinion by far the most interesting parcours of the three Grand Tours of the 2024 road cycling season. This year around, the Vuelta is good for a total distance of 3,305 kilometers and nearly 60,000 meters of elevation gain, meaning they'll be covering the height of Everest one more time than the Tour did earlier this season. The organizers indicate the Vuelta comprises one flat stage, 5 medium mountain stages, 8 mountain stages, 2 individual time trials, and 5 hilly stages, 2 of which have a high altitude finale. The Vuelta kicks off with a 12k flat individual time trial. On paper this will be a Tarling Van Aert battle, yet more on that in my stage 1 preview, which will drop on Friday evening. This time trial, as well as stages 2 and 3, will be run in Portugal. On stage 2, the riders will be presented with a 194k stage that goes up and down all day, good for 2,678 meters of elevation gain. The fourth category, Alto de Batalha, will initiate the finale of this stage. It runs over 7k at 3.3% average, yet starts off steeper and may well lead to a late breakout. That being said, I expect this stage to be decided in a reduced bunch sprint, and I would frankly not be surprised for Wout van Aert to take back-to-back victories. Stage 3 then looks like a break stage at first sight, an uphill start and the second category Alto de Teixeira at the halfway mark, which should allow for a break to form and gain time on the peloton. The stage runs over 190k with roughly 2,600 meters of elevation gain. In my initial route preview, I figured this stage would get controlled by the teams featuring a versatile sprinter. Yet the sprinters field here is very weak, not to say absent, so I would not be surprised for most teams to opt on getting a rider with a fast finish to get into the break of the day. And yes, Van Aert will complete his stage hat-trick here. We only have to wait till stage 4 to be presented with some proper climbing. At 170k, it's a relatively short stage, having a brutal start, climbing out of the gate and featuring a second and a first category climb in the first 50k. Expect a strong break to form here. After a flat middle section, the stage ends atop the Pico Villuercas, which comprises 3 kilometers on cement ramps with inclinations hovering around 15%. We've seen this finale before on stage 14 of the 2021 Vuelta, where Bardet won with a 6 kilometer solo from a large 20-person breakaway. Also for this edition, I'm going to call it for the break, and pre-race I'm calling it for Dylan Teuns. Stage 5 then is the most obvious and only real sprint opportunity in the 2024 Vuelta, yet with no real sprinters lining up, Van Aert is the man to watch once more. On stage 6 we move back into the mountains, yet with mellow climbs in the 6 to 7% gradient range, including the finish climb. In total, the riders will be gaining 3,700 meters of elevation. This stage has break written all over it. I like it for one of the youngsters. Torsten, Poel and Pelayo Sanchez are names that come to my mind. Stage 7 is hilly and not unlike stage 2, with the main obstacle sitting at 25k from the finish line. This second category climb outside Cordoba has slopes that go to 14%, and this is the point where I expect the decisive break to form. A similar stage has been run back in 2011, 2014 and 21, where it were respectively Degenkolb, Sagan and Magnus Kort winning the stage in reduced group sprints of respectively 5, 60 and 40 riders. Pre-race, I'm calling this one for Corbin Strong. Stage 8 then is a nearly 160k medium mountain stage featuring 2,640 meters of elevation gain, and with a category 3 finish climb, 4.3k at 8% average. The organizers expect a sprint of the GC men, a logic which is hard to contest, and I expect Roglic to draw forced blood here. Week 1 ends with the first properly brutal stage, 178k from Motril to Granada, with an upward start and 3 back-to-back first category climbs in the second half of the stage. In total, the riders will be covering nearly 4,500 meters of elevation gain here. This is money time for the GC men. There's 20k of downhill to the finish from the last summit, which some GC men may not like. Then again, I do expect this stage to go to a GC rider, and it will mean the end of GC ambitions for some. Looking for a good descender here. Kuss, Landa, Ciccone are names that come to mind. After the rest day, we will start week 2 as we ended week 1 with lots of climbing. Coming out of a rest day with a second category climb will hurt. There's a long downhill section to the finish. This combined with a big climb at the start of the stage and the final climb not being steep or long enough tells me this one has high chances to go to the break. More on breakaway riders to watch in my team overviews. Stage 11 is a 166k medium mountain sawtooth stage, which I also expect to go to the break, climbing out of the gate and up and down all day. Considering what's coming over the next few days, I can't imagine the GC contenders to care about this particular stage. Expect the break riders to cooperate till that final steep climb, 2.8k at 9.2%. I really like Narvaez for this stage. On stage 12, we get a 137k short stage with a category 1 mountaintop finish. The entire approach goes up and down relentlessly and is good for a cumulative elevation gain of 3,100 meters. And even though it's short, the gradients on the finish climb are too mellow for the GC men to bother, in my opinion. So there's another great opportunity for the breakaway. Stage 13 is a different beast, another category 1 mountaintop finish, yet this time after 175k, good for 3,400 meters of elevation gain and with a proper finish climb. 7.7k with an inclination of 9% average, and with the final 5k running at 12%, making this full-on GC territory. Roglic, Yates and Kuss are names that come to my mind. At 200k, stage 14 is the longest stage of La Vuelta 24. The first 100k rise gradually and a strong break should be able to form. From there, they descend into a long 23k regular first category climb and a descent finish. Pre-race, I'm calling this one for the break. At 4.5% average, the climb towards the finish simply isn't steep enough in my book for the GC man to bother. The second week of competing will conclude with a 143k short yet tough Asturian mountain stage, presenting the riders with roughly 3,700 meters of elevation gain. Prior to the mountaintop finish, they'll climb the Alto della Coladiella twice. The Cuito Negro mountaintop finish is brutal. It starts gently, ramps up in the middle section to feature ramps up to 23% beyond the Payares ski resort. Money time for the GC, who'll battle it out for the win on this 25k long climb. The final week of the Vuelta starts with another mountain stage, 181k, and ending atop the Or category climb to Lagos de Covadonga, which I'm also calling for the GC man. Stage 17 will be break against the faster guys. This is the final opportunity for the few fast men in this edition of La Vuelta. If one rider has been dominant, as I'm predicting, there's a high chance one team will not control this, increasing the options for the breakaway. Anyways, I'm calling it for a reduced bunch sprint. Stage 18 is a 175k medium mountain stage with 2,700 meters of elevation gain. According to the organizers, it may end up in a reduced bunch sprint, yet in my book the Puerta Herrera will ruin that scenario. I'm calling this one for the break. The Puerto Herrera is 5.5k long at 8.4% average and will create separation. Van Aert and Strong are the names that keep on coming back to my mind. On stage 19 we get another mountaintop finish, ending on the Alto de Moncalvillo, 8.5k at 9%. I expect the GC contenders to battle it out. In 2020 a similar stage has been run, and at that time Roglic and Carapaz battled it out, with Roglic taking the win. And then, oh my goodness, the penultimate stage to Picon Blanco. They've clearly saved the best for last year. 172k and over 5,000 meters of elevation gain. Money time for the GC man. And finally, La Vuelta will end with a 22k flat individual time trial. So to summarize, without knowing the actual race situation, we have 2 individual time trials, 4 stages that can be won by a fast guy with climbing legs, 3 punchy break stages and 5 mountain break stages, and finally 7 potential GC days, some of which may of course also end up going to the break. Here's an overview of the winners of the final 10 editions, with Primož Roglic remaining the Vuelta king, scoring a hat-trick from 2019 to 2021. We have 3 former winners lining up for this year's Giro: Primož Roglic, Nairo Quintana and last year's winner Sepp Kuss. Besides them, we also have the runners-up of 2020, Carapaz, and 2022, Enric Mas. Some other notable riders who've done well here in the past are Jack Haig, Almeida, Kruiswijk and Adam Yates. Here's the betting odds at the time of recording, with Roglic and Kuss the main favorites, followed by Almeida and Yates. Then here's the riders to watch in my book. The Soudal Quickstep team was not yet announced at the time of recording, yet Landa will be their GC guy. He's fresh of a 5th position in the Tour, so count him in. At Ineos, Carlos Rodriguez is the one to watch for GC, while they have interest to keep Aresman, 6th in the Giro earlier this year, up in the standings as well. Expect Narvaez to aim for stage wins. Even without Ayuso, UAE is lining up here with a super strong team, with both Adam Yates and Almeida having the potential to take this race home. 6th and 4th in this year's Tour respectively. Somehow I'm rating Yates higher on this parcours than Almeida though, and besides them, watch out for McNulty, Del Toro and Soler. I sincerely hope they'll get some freedom to hunt for stages. At Visma Leasebike, Kuss will be looking to defend his title, while also Uiterbroek shall try to remain in contention. Note down Wout van Aert for the fast and punchy rides as well as the ITTs. I'm expecting multiple stage wins on his end. At Bahrain, look out for Tiberi on GC, 5th in the Giro earlier this year. Carapaz is the man to watch at EF, only 17th in the Tour earlier this year, yet he seems to have put his 23 season behind him, and I would not be surprised to see him back in the top 10. Red Bull Bora is lining up with a strong team here, all in support of Roglic, a triple winner here and 3rd in last year's edition. He's won the Dauphiné earlier this year, yet dropped out of the Tour, his main goal of the season. Should he drop out of the Vuelta, also Vlasov, who is on a very solid year, and Martinez, 2nd to Pogačar in the Giro, have good chances here, especially since they also have strong support in Aliotti and Lipovic. At Movistar, Mas remains a bit of a mystery to me. He started his season relatively well, yet had a disappointing Tour. We haven't seen him in action since, yet in my book he's one who can surprise on home soils. Watch out for Aina Rubio and Pelayo Sanchez on the climby and punchy stage hunts, respectively. At Groupama, Gaudu will ride for GC, yet in my book he's never delivered, and their best chances for success at this Vuelta are to score a stage victory with Pacher in one of the punchy stages. At Astana, watch out for Lorenzo Fortunato. I'd love to see him go for stages, yet with his P12 on this year's Giro, I expect them to have him down for a top 10 at the Vuelta. At Jaiko Alula, Dunbar hasn't been confirming his 2023 form, so Zana will be their GC man, aiming for a top 10 following his P11 on this year's Giro. Besides him, I'm expecting them to aim for stage wins with Harper and Schmidt on the climby and the punchy stages respectively. At Little Trek, Ciccone and Schielmose will be the main guys on GC, and Ciccone will be looking to break into the top 10. Personally, I don't see them podium here, and hence, if I were pulling the strings in the team, I'd be setting them free to focus on stage hunting. At DSM, expect 21-year-old Max Poole on GC, 7th in the UAE Tour at the start of the season, and fresh of a 2nd position 5 seconds behind Sepp Kuss on the Vuelta a Burgos. At Lotto, youngster Lennart van Eetveld is the one to watch. If not for GC, you can certainly have him down for some stages. Winner of the UAE Tour at the start of the season and just off a podium finish at San Sebastian. Arkea and Cofidis, whose team has not been announced at the time of recording, will be looking for stage wins. I'm expecting Israel Premier Tech for the stage hunts as well, with Wood, Stearns, youngster Riccitello and Strong all having a stage win in them. The Alpes in the Koenig roster was not yet announced at the time of recording, yet I'm expecting a stage hunter team here as well, and the same goes for Intermarché. At Decathlon AG2R, look for Ben O'Connor on GC. He's having his best year ever, 2nd in the UAE Tour, 5th in Tirreno Adriatico, 2nd again in the Tour of the Alps and 4th in the Giro, behind Pogačar, Martinez and Thomas. Besides him, look out for Valentin Parepintre, who is in a breakthrough year, and Felix Gall for the stage hunt. At Team Kern Pharma, look for Castillo and Mikel Delgado for the stage hunt, and finally, also Euskaltel will be looking to entertain the breakaways. With basically none of the sprinters lining up here, there's extra chances for punchy guys and breakaway riders. Here's my top picks for the stage hunts. Narvaez and Tarling at Ineos for the punchy stages and individual time trials respectively, Teuns and Strong at Israel Premier Tech, Rubio and Sanchez at Movistar, Van Aert at Visma Leasebike, Parepintre and Gall at AG2R, Martin at Cofidis, Zana at Jaiko Alula, and Kampenaerts at Lotto Destiny. It's always a bit of a gamble as per whom goes for the polka dots, yet I would not be surprised to see it go to one of the GC contenders through the fights for stage wins or because of dropping out of contention for GC and shifting focus to stage wins, as Evenepoel did on last year's edition. In terms of stars, Roglic and Adam Yates are my 4-star favorites, Landa, Almeida, O'Connor and Kuss get 3 stars, Martinez, Carlos Rodriguez and Vlasov get 2 stars, and Tiberi gets 1 star. In terms of podium prediction for the 2024 Vuelta, my heart says Kuss, yet I'm going to call Adam Yates ahead of Roglic and Landa. Thanks for watching, let me know who's your pick in the comments below, and catch you on Friday for my Stage 1 prediction.